If we come towards the next heading, that is Silk Routes link the world. In the ancient time period, when the continents of America were not discovered, people of Asia and Africa as well as Europe were interlinked. On the other hand, you can see, or you can say, that the people of Asia, Africa and Europe believed that this is the world. The people of Asia, Africa and Europe were interconnected by the land route, and they can move from one part to another part. But after that, there was the vast spread of water bodies, and at that time it was not possible for the common people or for anyone to cross this water bodies. So they believed that the world is somewhere in Asia, Africa and Europe only. But even at that time, the people used to have the trade. Here you can see the trade routes between East Asia and the Western Asia till Europe. These routes were basically on the land, because traveling in the sea was a dangerous thing. The modern technology was not there. It was not possible for people to move from one place to another place through the water bodies. So most of the trade used to take place through the land route. And these land routes were termed as the Silk routes. They were termed as the Silk route, pointing towards the importance of westbound Chinese silk cargoes. The Chinese silk, here you can see the Chinese silk. At that time it was one of the most luxurious product, and Europe, which was having a good money, they wanted to have these silk. So silk was the most important commodity which used to move on these routes, and hence these routes were termed as the Silk route. These routes existed even before the Christian era and thrived almost till the 15th century. After that, the sea routes were discovered and the trade started moving from land route to the Silk route, or you can say the sea route. Other than the silk, the other things which dominated this trade was the Chinese pottery, textiles, spices from India which traveled to Europe. Here you can see the Chinese pottery and the spices from India which started moving from Eastern Asia towards the Western Asia. And obviously, if you are doing the trade, if you are giving the products to some other people, you will take something from them, and in return we used to have the precious metals. At that time in India, we used to have the coins made up of silver and gold, and this silver and gold usually used to come to us from Europe. So we used to give them the pottery, textile, spices and various other things, and in return we were having the precious metals. Not only the commodities moved from one area to another area, even the religious ideas moved from one place to another place. For example, you can see Christian missionaries and Muslim preachers. Christianity originated somewhere in Europe, and Muslim or you can say the Islam in the Middle West, and they started moving, or these ideas started moving towards Eastern Asia, that is India and China. Today we can find so many people who are the followers of Christian religion or the Islam religion in India. So these ideas, these religious ideas came from the western side and slowly spread into India. Not only the thing is that the things were coming from west. Some religious ideas were spreading from India to the other part of the world. For example, you can have the example of Buddhism. Buddhism emerged from Eastern India and spread in several directions through intersecting points on the Silk routes. Those people who used to do the trade on the Silk route, if they were the Indians, they used to take the Indian ideas towards west, and if these traders were the part of the Western world, they used to bring the ideas from that part of the world. If we move towards the third part, we'll be talking about food travels, spaghetti and potato. It seems to me that this one is one of the most important or interesting part which we are going to discuss today, because every one of us is interested in food. Especially I am very much interested in food. Here you come. Can you identify these things? Here you can see the noodles, the chow mein. Every one of us are fond of this thing. And here you can see the raw material of chow mein. If we feel that chow mein came to India in the last 20 or 30 years, somewhere we are right that it in its present form it came in the last 20 to 30 years. But we Indians were having this type of food even during the earlier times. If I give you one particular example, in India we used to have sevai, or you can say the bromsli. Something is common between the sevai and the chow mein. Both are made up of either wheat or rice, and the way these things are cooked is somewhat similar. The sevai can also be an spicy one, as well as the kheer of sevai can be made, but chow mein can be made only as a spicy one. And it's not only the relation between India and China that we used to have the same type of products. These products were found in Arab as well as Italy. For example, nowadays in our country we have got this spaghetti as well as pasta. But these things were in existence since ancient time periods. And these things were introduced in various parts of the world either by the traders or the travelers. Food offers many examples of long distance cultural exchange. The more the people used to travel from one place to another, obviously they used to carry the ideas as well as the food from one part to the other part of the world. For example, here we can see traders and travelers introduced new crops to the lands they traveled. In the previous slide I was talking about the traveler from Rajasthan. When this person will be moving to Tamil Nadu, in Rajasthan generally people used to have bajra and jowar, which is the crop of Rajasthan, the dry crops. And if that person is moving towards Tamil Nadu, he will come to know about a new crop, that is rice. According to the climatic conditions of Tamil Nadu, the rice is grown over there. So the trader from Rajasthan who was earlier habitual of eating jowar and bajra, if he resides in Tamil Nadu for 5, 10 or 50 years, he will become habitual of eating rice. And when the same person will move from Tamil Nadu back to Rajasthan, this person will bring rice, and for the people of Rajasthan a new product has emerged, and they will come to know, oh, in some part of the world, why to say some part of the world, in some part of India also some other food crops are existing, and that is termed as rice. So the same type of things can be found in the ancient time periods. The noodles traveled west from China to become spaghetti, that is in Italy we call it spaghetti. Arab traders took pasta to 5th century Sicily or Italy. Similar foods were also known in India and Japan. As I already told you that the noodles were present in China and Japan, and India the bromsili or the semai was present. We cannot only say that the food traveled from eastern part of the Asia to western part. Some food also traveled from western part of the world to Asia. One of the most important example can be the potato. For example, here it is written, many of our common foods such as potatoes, soya, groundnut, maize, tomato, chili, sweet potatoes and others were not known to our ancestors until about 5 centuries ago. It is especially mentioned 5 centuries ago because before 5 centuries, before near about 500 to 600 years, America was not discovered, and all these food products were taken from America. When people of Europe moved to America, they came to know about these products. When these people came back to Europe, they brought down these products, and the products or the potatoes, groundnuts, maize, tomatoes started moving from west to east. In the previous paragraphs, when we were talking about noodles, spaghetti and pasta, we were saying that the food products moved from Eastern Asia towards the Western Asia, from India and China towards Italy. But here are the examples that the food was also moving from west to east. That is America, the westernmost part of the world. From there the potato, maize, tomato and others were moving towards eastern area, either you can say Europe or we can say Asia. These foods were introduced in Europe and Asia after Christopher Columbus accidentally discovered America. Another interesting story over here is Christopher Columbus accidentally discovered America. Why it is written accidentally? Basically, Christopher Columbus have left Europe not in search of America. Basically, he wanted to discover the sea route to India. But we can say fortunately or unfortunately, he traveled towards west and reached the islands which are presently known as West Indies. Again, an interesting thing over here is when India was only one at that time, or you can say only one India was found at that particular time, why today we have two countries, one is termed as West Indies, and when the European countries started trade with India, why they used to have the name of East Indies. For example, British East India Company, French East India Company, Dutch East India Company, or so on. Christopher Columbus can be termed as the person who was responsible for this. Christopher Columbus left Portugal in search of the sea route to India, but accidentally